ayes. That way we can move through these votes quicker. It's just way too long if everybody has to put in their aye vote. Additionally, if you would mind, please keeping your microphone muted during times when you are not talking. Just cuts down on the background noise, helps the meeting go quicker. All right, thank you very much again for showing up. I see we've got a few new people in there. Okay, so new members or visitors is the next thing on my list here. I only see one in there, and that's Greg. Hello, Greg. You have to unmute yourself or press your space bar, depending on what you are using for a device there. Assuming you are KD2GWB, is that correct? Yeah. I haven't figured out how to unmute yourself yet. Let me see if I can get you unmuted. My stuff. I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself, and I'm not sure how to do that depending on what device you're on. Okay. Greg, we'll get back to you.
Right.
Oh, there we got it.
Me now?
Yep, we got it.
Sorry, it's my first Zoom meeting.
All right, Greg. Very cool. KD2GWB, right?
Yes.
All right, very nice to meet you. Thank you for being here on the meeting.
Good to meet you too.
Absolutely.
Dave, I'm still at work. I don't know if I'm going to get called and have to leave this meeting, but I'm going to probably be here till about 9:30 this evening on and off. I work building maintenance, so I can get called at any time.
Okay, understood. Well then, we'll just skip ahead just a little bit to make sure we get you in here. We're going to vote on your membership a little bit later because you were introduced. But if you wouldn't mind just saying a little, I know we talked on the phone, but if you wouldn't mind saying a little bit about yourself and what interests you in ham radio. And
I'm sorry, say again?
I'd like you to, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to the membership and just saying a little bit about why you're interested in ham radio and joining Omarc. And
okay. I've been basically into radio since I've been about 10 years old, basically CB, from 1974 to 1989 or so. I've got background with marine radios. I've always wanted my ham radio, so I got that. I think my license year was 2014 off the top of my head. I just haven't had much time to really get into it the way that I wanted to, so I've got some equipment, and I would basically just like to get it up and running and enjoy again.
All right, very good. Anybody have any questions for Greg, just in case he has to run out of here before we do the vote?
Yeah, where do you live and what do you do for work?
I work for New York City as an essential worker for a college. I live in Pine Bush for just about 32 years now, and I commute back and forth every day. So that's kind of where that's at.
Are you currently active on CB, Greg, or that was
no, actually, no, not anymore. Last year I was on probably 89. Actually met my wife on CB. It was kind of funny, but yeah, I've still got an antenna up on the house. And I've got a actually 22-foot, I guess, ground plane, and I got a little tree damage there. But no, I haven't been on it. I've got a mobile set up as far as the ham goes, an HT. My truck, and that's about as good as I get right now.
Gotcha. Well, maybe you'll eventually repurpose that CB antenna to get on 10 meters. So, welcome back to the hobby, I guess I could say.
Thank you very much.
All right. Any other questions for Greg before we move on with the actual meeting? Like I said, Greg, we'll vote you in later, and if you're still here, we're going to have to put you into what's called breakout room. And I know you don't do a lot of Zoom, so basically it's we have to you in, and the traditional way we do it is we ask people to leave the room. So I will explain to you how to do it once we get to that point if you're still here.
All right.
Yeah, question for Greg. What area of Pine Bush are you in?
You familiar with Burlingham Road by
Yep.
the old Borderline Deli?
Yep.
I'm probably 100 yards away from that. I'm between the Borderline Deli and Lakeshore Road.
Okay, I'm on the Oregon Trail,
Alrighty.
so pretty close. Okay, good. Oh, any veteran status?
No,
Okay. All right, thanks.
you got it.
All right, very good. Okay, let's move along with the meeting here. Anybody participate in any contests? Anybody do any upgrades for their licenses? Anything that interesting contacts that they've made over the last couple of weeks? Anything that they'd like to share with the group?
I have interesting things, but I'm going to derail the meeting, so I'm going to save them and on with the show.
Okay. All right, Steve, good enough. All right, good enough. All right, let's go ahead and move along here with the reading of the February minutes. Are you ready, George?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's go ahead with George for the February minutes.
Let me look at the beginning here. All right, here we go. The reading of December's minutes as read. First was K2BHM Jim. Second, Zena, KD2UEO, and the motion did pass. Now the reading of the January minutes as read. First was Doc to motion it. Second was KD2EYH Frank. Motion passed. Treasurer's report as read from committee meeting from February 8th. First motion was Paul, AC2UQ, and second was Doc, KG2DOC, and the motion passed. Committees. The repeater committee, all working except for a little tone problem. Inventory committee, list went out to members. Education, got an email from 4-H for February 24th, virtual for technician class exams, and then holding online class training through YouTube. Special events as of our president, KT2JLV, proud of club for dealing with cold temperatures for winter field day. Aries Races, Bob continues to run Aries Races. For forms 1S700, if you're interested, email Bob for rmbloom679@gmail.com. Old business, voting Judy Fachetti's guy's wife. For positive vote for her being a member. And looking at Omarc budget for the year from February 8th, committee meeting. The first motion for that was KG2DOC. Frank was the second, and the motion passed. The WeatherNet is still going strong. Got on various newscasts in New York City. President is getting permission from the club to use some of the inventory for the DMR tower, so it wouldn't cost the club any money. The first motion was KG2DOC to first motion that. Second was KD2MQE, and the motion passed. New business. News event. Rush Limbaugh died. Today, NASA Mars spaceship will land 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. New applicant was KD2GWB, Gregory Wallach, technician class licensee. Monthly presentations launching first Wednesday of every month. Committee reactivation. Technical committee, inventory committee, education committee, Aries Races committee, public information committee, field day committee, and finance committee. Sunday Net reboot. Science and Technology Net, first Sunday in March. Motion to adjourn meeting. First was me, K2KMM. Second, Doc, KG2DOC. And that's all of the minutes I have for February.
Or corrections on those minutes? Alrighty. Can I get a motion to accept the minutes for the February meeting, please?
I move we accept them, Dave.
Okay, that's all AC. Second?
Second.
Okay, Ed,
Who seconded that, Dave?
Ed, is it KD3 ETF?
Correct.
AD3. AD3. EDF?
ETF.
ETF.
Alright, anyone opposed to accepting the minutes? Alright, motion passes. Thank you, George. Much appreciated. Let's move on to the treasurer's reports.
Hey, can you let me share there, Dave?
Oh, yes.
Hey, Dave, I have a question. Is this the one? Is this the treasurer's report as of February 18th, 2021?
No, this is the treasurer report effective March 17th, 2021, which is today. It started on February 18th, 2021.
Okay, I have that. Do you want me to read it, Dave?
No, that's
No, you don't have. You have last month's. You don't have this month's.
Okay. Well, yeah, I just copied it down because I got your email, Kenny.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the new one that I'm about to go over.
Okay.
Kenny, you should be able to share now.
Okay. There we go. Can everybody see it?
I can see.
Okay.
So,
We had a starting balance of $7,612 as of February 18th. You look at the deposits, we had a couple of inventory sales. The first one on February 22nd for $1,700. You slide down to March 13th, we had one for $140. The Amazon Smile, people who purchase through Amazon and use the Amazon Smile code, some of that money goes to us. And in this case, on February 22nd, we had $12.95. The rest were PayPal dues and donation. Now, the PayPal dues, we were paying $1.03 for every $25, but we have finally converted our PayPal account to a 501c3. And if you look at March 6th and March 16th, those dues that were paid, instead of $1.03, we now pay only 85 cents. It's an 18-cent savings, but it adds up over time. So these are the deposits through yesterday. Just so everybody knows, we now have 67 members of the Omarc Club, and all are paid up for 2021. So we have 100% paid up fees for our membership, and we're at 67 members, which is great. And now we're, hopefully we can increase that number substantially. In terms of debit, Hucker Storage, we have a February 18th payment and a March 8th payment. Mountain Tower, we have a March 5th payment. And then Great American Insurance is the D&O insurance. And we made our first payment of $302 on March 8th. Now, the 25-cent payment, which says PayPal test, Paul travels around a lot and was very uncomfortable having checks mailed to him because sometimes he wouldn't receive the checks for weeks on end. So we've been working with the bank, with Rondout Savings, and it's been kind of a pain in the neck. But we finally figured out that we can transfer money to PayPal and then pay him directly into his bank account through PayPal. And it's no fee to him and no fee to us. And for me to try that out, I did a PayPal test of 25 cents. He received it the next day in his account, and we were not charged for it. So with Paul, we are now good to go with our direct payments. Great American Insurance, we paid them directly through their website, and they took the money out of our account directly. Again, no cost to us. So our bank balance as of today is $9,056.23, which is a nice big number. We should not go spend it all in one place. We do have some continued payments coming up in the next few months. We have obviously our post office box. We have the continued payments monthly of the repeater and storage. We have another payment due on the Great American Insurance. We have our liability insurance payment, which will come due in May. We have hopefully Memorial Day, which we put some money in for that, and then any other activities that could cost us additional money, including the rebuild of our website. But we have a nice bank account right now of over $9,000. And again, our additional revenue would come from donations, would come from additional sales of inventory, and hopefully increased membership. And that is your treasurer report as of today.
All right. Thank you very much, Kenny. Anybody else still need that on the screen there?
Doc makes motion to accept the report.
Okay. That's KD2. I'm sorry.
KDJ2
DOC. Yep. Can I get a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Then anybody opposed or have questions on the treasurer's report? Okay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, Kenny. Appreciate it.
Question,
Okay, somebody said question.
Ken. How do you access the Amazon Smile? I tried that the other day. I tried looking up Omarc. I couldn't find it anywhere. I couldn't credit the purchases.
I will send you the link. It will be in the chat. I will send you the link.
Thank you. Perfect.
You're very welcome.
It should come up as Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club if you look for the go for a search. That's the way I've always found it, but I'll send you a link and that'll make it easier.
You also have to be careful because there's two Omarcs. Make sure you go the one that's spelled out as Overlook Mountain. The other one is the one down the tip of New Jersey down there, Ocean County. Amateur.
Yeah, there is a Florida one that has Omarc as their name also. Yeah, you do have to be careful. But I'll send you the link. Give me a few minutes. I'll send you the link, and you'll be good to go.
Perfect. Thank you. Moving on.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so hopefully this month will be the last month that we do the committee reports in this fashion. It is my intention to get committees up and running over the next month. I just did not have the time personally this month to get it all put together. So we'll be just doing our regular committee reports as we normally do coming up next month. So for the repeater committee, except for that continued issue with the tone, the 805 and 745 and 255 are all working. Unless anybody has anything to report on that, I check them regularly and they seem to have no problems. Anybody hear any other problems on the repeaters? Okay, good enough. Now that the weather is starting to get warmer, the mountain is starting to come together, we will be working on getting rid of that tone, and we're going to go ahead and work on the repeater upkeep or maintenance that has been voted in with our budget for this year. So we'll keep you apprised of that. Just have to wait for the ice to go away on the mountain. I'm not driving up there without it being gone. Inventory. We have made some sales outside of the club, as you've seen with the treasurer's report. We're going to continue to work on that. Is there anybody who has not seen the inventory list and wants to? Okay. If you haven't seen it yet, it does change from time to time. Things go out. Sometimes things come in. Definitely worth checking it. It is continuously updated on the Google page, so definitely keep an eye on it if you're looking for stuff. I'm going to start advertising it to other local clubs initially, and then we will start working on other ways to divest ourselves of that and hopefully increase our cash backup that we seem to have a nice setup right now. Education. Over to you, Doc.
Okay, the format right now for an upcoming tech class will be Zoom meetings. We'll have one initial Zoom meeting together as a group. Homework assignment basically will be given out to go to Dave Kassler and a couple other YouTube sites for the actual lessons. Then we will come back together as a group again to review the material and go over any questions that anyone has. We're going to be setting this up and coordinating it with an upcoming VE session as soon as I get the date for that. In the meantime, anybody you know who's interested in getting their tech, they need to get an email to me so I can make contact with them, and we will coordinate getting everybody together. I want to start a class as soon as we can get 6 individuals. We'll go ahead and get started on that. So, as far as 4-H business goes, there's nothing new right now, except that they did notify that they are allowing outdoor meetings for club groups in keeping with the COVID situation. So at this point, we're not quite ready to start our STEM radio-related group yet, but as soon as the 4-Hers start meeting in person again, we'll work on recruiting that. And that's all I have now.
All right, very good, Doc. Thank you very much. Paul, you have your hand up.
Thanks, Dave. Could you ask George to mute his mic, please?
George, can you mute yourself?
Dave, you have privileges as the admin to basically just mute everybody.
Yeah, I know. All right, got it. Is that it, Paul? Is that all you needed? Okay. Still got your hands up. Okay. Doc, well, it's coming up later in the show here, but I have been in touch with Harry, and we are doing a VE session for the spring, just a standard one. Have you talked to Harry Slate yet, or no?
No.
All right, I will put you two together after the meeting.
Okay, great.
All right. Okay. Let's see here. Special event. We haven't really done anything since the last meeting, so nothing to really report there. And Aries Races. I know a number of members have done their 100, 700 courses from the from FEMA and have sent in their applications to Bob Bloom. I know he is working on those, but I am probably going to just have a conversation with him this month and just see where things are at and see if we can continue to move things along with that. I know there's definitely some interested parties here in the club that are wanting to get their teeth into Aries Racing. So it is my intention to just sort of, see what he needs, try to get things moving along with that. I know it's something we've been lax on doing for the last number of years, and I'd like to get it moving. All right, so that's it for committees. Anybody have any questions before we move on to old business? All right, very good. Well, first thing in old business is the voting in of our applicant, Greg, KD2GWB. So, Greg, what I'm going to do, since you're still here, is I'm going to invite you to go into into what's called a breakout room. It should pop up on your screen in a minute. And let me just double check and make sure I have this all set up here. Okay, I believe so. All right, should be set set. Okay, good. So what'll happen is you'll go into that room and you'll stop seeing all of us. We'll do the vote, and then I will close the room, and it will take you out of there in 10 seconds, and then you'll be back in with us. All right?
Alrighty, Dave. Now I've got, like I said, this is my first Zoom meeting. I've got a chat with three people that want to chat with me. Would that mess up your closed room or other? I don't know how to use this.
Understood. Well, let's move on with the vote. The chat. People may be sending you personal messages. So if they're PM, just make sure it'll say in the chat that the person you're typing in is directed towards whoever you were talking to, instead of saying to everyone.
Alrighty.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess sort of. We'll work it out. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. And hopefully this will work. All right. This is going to work. I'm not okay. Sorry, guys. I'm not a Zoom magical person here. Okay, wait a minute. Everybody's going into the room. Don't go into the room, guys. Okay, hold on. I'm closing it. All right, so, yeah. I think I screwed up here. So I'm going to try this again. Let's see if we can get people to not go in there. Let's see if we can do that. Okay, there we go. This will do it this time. Okay. I'm really hoping this works. Greg, you should have a thing that says go into the room. All right, so just go ahead and click on it. You should just pop in there for a second. Okay, got it. All right, anybody have any questions or comments about Greg? I will say I had a nice chat with him on the other night after we introduced him at the February meeting. Nice guy, very interested in amateur radio, and he had the unfortunate experience that some amateur new hams seem to have
Anybody there?
on certain
KDT,
repeaters
you are.
where they were not as welcomed as they were hoping to be. So I'm glad that he decided to reach out to us, and I'm looking forward to having him among us so that we can raise his expectation of ham radio operators. All right. Anybody with any questions or comments before we go ahead to the vote?
I don't.
Nope. Okay. Anybody opposed? You okay? Who's talking?
Bob QAK, you're muted, Bob.
No, he's still talking.
Bob, you're muted.
I'm sorry, I let up on my space bar.
Okay.
If you go down to the right-hand reactions on the bottom of your screen and click on that, you'll see a red no and a green yes. And so we can vote on yes or no by just clicking on that, and you can count the pictures around. There's one right there on David, KD2 MQE has one up.
Okay, well, we can do it that way if you want to go ahead and do it. Otherwise, we can count the no votes, but either way is fine.
I think this makes a lot more sense.
Okay. If everybody has the ability, some people are on mobile devices, Bob, which might make it difficult. Okay, and I've got a lot of positives. Anybody negative on letting Greg in?
that Dave?
Yes.
I don't have the option, but I'm saying yes anyway.
Okay.
The buttons didn't come up for me.
All right, Jim. Well, I know you're on a mobile device, aren't you?
I'm on my laptop.
Oh, okay. It might pop up with the chat window if you have chat up. I'm not sure.
Let me
Anyways.
see.
Basically, where you have all the buttons on the bottom of mute and start and participants, you just click reactions. That's how you do it, Jim.
I don't have that.
I don't have it either.
Okay. Well, as long as you're not voting against having him in the club.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I think it's time to buy a new laptop. That's all.
All right. I'm bringing him back in.
Just run to Costco, buy a new laptop.
All right. Hey, Greg, congratulations. You're among the crazy people. Good stuff. All right. Very good. Thank you. Welcome aboard, Greg. Now we're just going to put you in charge of three committees. So there you go.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. You have my email address. If anybody wants to get in touch with Greg and have a conversation, I can put you in touch with him. Or, Greg, if you want, you can put your, if you feel comfortable doing it, put your email into the chat, and people can contact you directly if you like. Either way is fine, and then we can go ahead and get you in touch with some of the members if you'd like to talk to them. Got a pretty great group here, and we're always very welcoming. Okay, very good. Let's move along here on old business. DMR repeater progress report. Over the last month, we got the hard parts into the hands of Pete, and he has started working on it. If you want to give a quick report there, Pete, on how you're doing with that, is that all right?
Sure. I got the pieces together, and last week I was on vacation for a couple days, so I built the cable, interface cable that goes between the radio and the repeater, the modem and the repeater, and got some of the pieces running. And when I did the basic tests, I couldn't get anything out of it, and found out the repeater was off frequency. So I found out I knew how to tune it, get it back on frequency. But the problem is there's a board right on top of it, and there's almost no slack at all to get in there and make the adjustment. So it turns out they made special little jumper cables to add on to the end of the cables to make the board get out of the way. Although I couldn't find anything locally here. There was a couple other ideas people gave me, so I'll work on that. And the modem that we were using was a little bit wonky. I think the firmware on it is pretty old, so I'll probably use a different modem and see how that works. Make sure the connections to that I think are to the repeater are the right ones work. And I'll look and ask around about getting once I know that works and the path is good there. Then I'll work on trying to get some information on how to update the firmware on the modem that Steve donated. So we're making some progress. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time, so I'm hopefully next week when my daughter's on vacation for the spring break, I'll take some time off and maybe I can stick a couple hours here or there and work on it that way, get some make some more progress. So we're getting there. It's just slow, a little slow. We hit a couple bumps and we'll get through them. That's about it.
All right. Thank you very much, Pete, and I appreciate your efforts. And we look forward to hearing your further reports, and hopefully we'll be on the air as soon as you figure all this stuff out. Good stuff. All right. Next on the list for old business is the committee reactivation. I've got it on the list here as it was on the February meeting. I had a bunch of stuff come up in my personal life this last month, and I was not able to get this all done for you guys this month. That has pretty much cleared out, and so I will be on it for next month, and we will have full committees back up and running. Anybody who is interested in participating in a committee, I know I've gotten 6 or 7 of you have sent me emails. Thank you very much for volunteering. I appreciate that. Anybody else who would like to take part? The committees that we are looking to reactivate are the technical committee, which is repeaters and equipment, inventory committee, which are for permanent inventory, records keeping, and donations and sales. We have the education committee, Aries Races, public information, which covers social media and web presence, monthly newsletter, special events / field days, and finance / fund development. So if you're interested in helping out club in any of those committees, you can email me and I will put you on the list. I will also be sending out a MailChimp to everybody who's not here, which I did not get done last month, to describe the committees that we want to do and ask for additional volunteers for people who do not make the meetings. So that will be happening, and hopefully we'll be able to get a number of them up and running by the next meeting. It doesn't all have to be all at once, but I'd like to get things and get club more involved in the operations of the club. The members definitely deserve to have a hand in doing what needs to get done, and it'd be great to have more participation. Anybody with questions on committees? Okay, good enough. Let's go ahead and move on to new business. First up on the new business, we discussed this with the executive committee this month. We have been, well, at least I have been looking as president over the last couple of years to increase the number of our major events to 4 per year. We currently do 3, of course, COVID being COVID, but the 3 that we normally do are Summer Field Day, the Aerodrome event in the fall, September, and then Winter Field Day in January. I guess it would be the other way around, but we're looking to get a 4th one in there. I'd like to have another event up and running for the club so we can have 1 per season, so to speak. The idea that came up was a spring RDF event, or Radio Directional Finding Fox Hunt event. And what we were thinking about, and I want to take in ideas on this as we move along, was to do sort of a dual track event. We could do, the idea being we would do a wide area fox hunt where we'd set up a repeater and give a 20 to, or not a repeater, but a fox in about a 20 to 30 mile circular area. And then people would go and drive to different locations and do a more wide area fox hunt, see if they can nail it down. And then concurrently with that, we would also run, maybe later on in that same day, a short distance fox hunt with a barbecue. Of course, this is all dependent on COVID restrictions and stuff like that, but we would like to do something where we can all get together outside somewhere and do, fox hunting, and then maybe have, lunch or dinner or late lunch, something like that. And that particular portion of the event, the short distance fox hunt, like we've been doing so far with the barbecue, well, maybe not just the barbecue, but the short distance fox hunt would be usable to invite students, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, 4-H members, things like that, to show them and introduce them into what we do, or some of the things that we do with radio. So that's sort of what we were thinking about doing. Does anybody have any comments or thoughts on that?
Well, I have a lot to say, and it's all positive, so I'm excited to hear this. And for those that don't know me, but I think everyone does by now, we wanted to do radio direction finding a couple of years ago. There were too many people trying to pull the club in different directions, and it got put on hold. We finally got everyone swimming in the right direction, or at least enough people to swim in the right direction. And so we've now had what I'll say 2 official fox hunts. And the fact that we did them in the depths of COVID season, or whatever we want to call COVID, shows testament to Omarc that we can do things in a very safe manner. And so I think as things revert back to normal, expanding this is something that is not only a fantastic idea for us, but it also puts Omarc and the Hudson Valley on the map as part of some wider things. So it's already part of the plans that I have for HVDN, and I look at Omarc as being a strong partner for that. So I'm for it, Dave. I've actually been building, if anyone can see the screen, this is the new version of the Fox, so a lot smaller than what you've seen in the ammo cases. I have 5 of these built already, so we're going to have some really interesting times ahead for in-person fox hunts. And then I think once we get a couple more people involved, then I think we can start doing stuff in the car. It's a different set of skills and safety and other things, but I'm for it. Whatever you want from me, Dave, you have my undivided attention to make that happen.
All right, very good, Steve. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions upon that? Anybody want to expound or add things or take things away? I see Ken looks like he has his hand up.
Oh, there's actually one thing that I'll just mention. There's an RDF project that I'm working on with USMA, aka West Point. So figure they're going to be part of this as well.
Okay. Ken, you got to unmute yourself. Ken, are you there?
He's like a mime.
Push your space button. Can't do that. All right, while you're figuring out.
Okay, there we go. I highlighted the Amazon Smile to copy it, and every time I hit the space bar, Amazon popped up on my screen. Quick comment, thinking out loud, moving it forward. One, I love the idea of the Fox Hunt period. This can be a major fundraiser for us as well, and there's multiple ways to do it. If you do a next year after, got to get the foundation first, you can run a big enough competition with that, charge an entry fee, and draw people in from all over the place with it. You can do another aspect of having multiple destinations, like an orienteering course. You have to do like 5 or 6 finds, and at each location there's a different project, task, or item to work with. So this could be done up as a significant fundraiser, and again, puts Omarc on the map if we're drawing people in from all over the state, because we announce it and have it planned out a year ahead of time. So just thinking out loud with that one and putting that out there for in the future, and just something to somewhat think about as we look at this first one.
So along those lines, Ken, if it's okay to share a comment. So there's an official international organization called Radio Sport that basically manages these, and it's way more popular in Europe and on the West Coast, and in certain pockets in the East Coast. It's too bad that Neil's not here, because he would be able to also speak to this. But I think the long-term evolution is once we get enough people interested and show that we could, kind of manage these, then I think, to your point, maybe Omarc could be like the official sponsor of, or one of the sponsors, behind a much larger thing. Neil and I were both part of an organization on Long Island called Litharc, which was focused on radio direction finding. Our numbers dwindled over the years, but that's because people moved. And so that's why Neil and I are here, and that's why they stopped having as many fox hunts down there, because they have less people. But I would agree with everything you say. So, but we gotta crawl first before we run. but definitely a good long-term evolution for us to focus on.
And Doc, you had a question? I saw you there, but I couldn't get over to you quick enough.
Not really a question, but I just wanted to call the club's attention to the fact that due to COVID, we haven't been able to have our annual get-together dinner, and this would be a good opportunity for us to come together as a club just for the social activity. But in combining with the fox hunt during the day and stuff, we could do a barbecue at the end of the day, and we could have our annual social dinner. Wives, significant others, whatever, could attend, and we could combine all this together for, say, like an annual April event.
Exactly. The thing that has been on my mind about it is that we of course we have been able to, up until COVID, we're able to pull off the winter party, although with varying levels of regularity. And usually, in the old days, we used to do a after field day barbecue, and that sort of fell by the wayside as well. So I kind of wanted to incorporate this into the spring event, like you say, Doc. Is like sort of in the evening, after the events, and just have like stand around, have some hot dogs or fried chicken or barbecue chicken or whatever, and hang out a little bit. Try to, of course, right now we'll have to stay socially distanced, etc. But I think it would be a really good way for the club to sort of have a chance to get together in an outside situation, which is more safe. And I think as we move more towards the summertime, the immediacy of the COVID situation will hopefully relax slightly, and it will be able to be a little bit more able to be together. Target dates. I was thinking somewhere late April, early May. Want to get it nice and warm out there since old man winter seems to keep biting us in the behind. So that's what I'm thinking. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
For which event, Dave?
Sorry, George, go ahead.
For which event?
For this RDF event in the springtime.
Is that the fox hunt?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Or late April, early May, or whatever it is.
Steve?
The calendar that I have, I was planning to start these April 24th, which is a Saturday. So it's not set in stone yet, but I'd love to just get on the same page with everybody. And then I was thinking that these would be a once a month thing, at least from an HVDN perspective. So if you want to do it in April, Dave, that would be good. April 24th was the date that I was planning some things around. For me to have USMA involved, they have a fairly restrictive training schedule, so I was trying to fit it in there. The backup date was going to be May 8th. So if you want to give it some thoughts, we can move things around, whatever you guys want to do. The only thing that I would say is if we're going to add a barbecue, I'm really looking forward to having Zena's special onion sauce as we experienced during Winter Field Day. So, yeah, that barbecue idea, home run on combining the two. But I'm hopeful that Zena could, do some of the cooking, because that was a fantastic addition. So,
yeah. I think that was the only thing that kept us alive during the Winter Field Day event.
Yes.
All right. So my thinking is that as we work towards getting the special event committee up and running this month, we'll hand it over to them and start them working on details. And that works for everybody else. Anybody else have any ideas?
Yeah, Doc here. I think the 24th would probably be good. I think we should run the event following our next general membership meeting. So we have our meeting in April, and it should be the next weekend following the meeting.
Okay. I mean, it's a lot to put together in 1 month, so we'll see what we can do. It may be a little bit rough around the edges this first time around, but I think we'll learn a lot, and we'll be able to, if nothing else, it'll be a little slapped together. But I think we can put together a pretty good event. We've got a pretty good group of people that understand how to put these things together. So we'll make it happen. If anybody else have any comments or questions or thoughts on that particular situation. No? All right, very good. We'll go ahead. We got to come up with a snappy name and a logo for it. Next thing on the list is the HVDN Bannerman Island event. Steve,
Can you repeat that title again, Dave, for the next event?
Say again?
Yeah, I didn't hear the next item on the agenda. Can you say that slower, please?
It's the HVDN Bannerman Island event, which I don't know if is the actual name of it at this point, but
No, it's not. So let me make sure that George gets it correct, since we want to get the details, not to sound like a.
This is what I have, Steve. HVDN
Okay,
Bannerman Island.
Right. So let me spell it for you.
Go ahead.
So that's not correct. So just cross out what you have.
All right.
Okay. The official name of the event is called Hudson River Radio Relay. Then featuring
Relay featuring
Bannerman's, which is spelled BANNERMAN, apostrophe S.
Island, you said?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I have it right for the minutes.
And that's why I wanted to give you a hint.
I appreciate that, Steve. Thank you. Go ahead, Dave.
all right. You want to walk us through what you got going on, Steve?
Yeah, could you give me a screen share for 3 slides? Actually, 2. Well, 2.5.
You should be able to share.
Excellent. Okay.
Oh, look at that.
All right, you got the main splash screen?
Yep.
All right, awesome. All right, so I think we all know the name of the event. This is part of a wider initiative. This is what I'm calling the first annual Hudson River Radio Relay. Every year, we're going to do something like this, and each year the theme is going to change. So this being the first time, it's going to feature Bannerman's Island. And let's see, let me change my background here. Where we go? Here we go. All right. So if anyone sees my background, no, I'm not in this really strange-looking environment. That's what Bannerman's Island looks like. For a brief history lesson for those that are not familiar, when you come up the Hudson River on the west side, approximately in the vicinity of Bear Mountain Bridge, is an island called Bannerman's Island. Its official name is Polypel Island, but everyone calls it Bannerman's Island. It traces its history way back far. I'm not going to go through a whole history lesson, but essentially there's a set of really unique ruins that a 501c3 group named Bannerman's Island Trust maintains. And so this is going to be a way that can help raise a visibility for them through the magic of amateur radio and our super wide reach. And so that's kind of what inspired this. And then for years in the future, the theme will change. And so that'll be up for discussion with all the participating clubs. So we want to try to add some benefit to other, cool things within the Hudson Valley, and also most importantly, use it as a way to show that as a region we can do some amazing things. So this is not like a HVDN thing, it's not an Omarc thing, it's both plus many other clubs, and I'll share the details on this. So okay, so super high level, we already talked about radio direction finding, so we don't need to drill into that, but this is just kind of giving you an idea of some of the other things that are going on outside of the world of Omarc. So this is the event, this is the date. I'm going to share details in a second. So June 12th is the official date. This date was chosen through the planning committee, which is representative of now 9 different amateur radio clubs up and down the Hudson River, basically 60 miles of shoreline. It is also the same weekend as the VHF-UHF contest. This most likely is going to be the date that we do this continually because it's easy to remember and it drives a lot of the different positive culture that we're looking for. We of course know ARRL Field Day comes up, so this is also a great way to kind of fine-tune the kinks. And then 2 weeks later, you have regular Field Day. And so, as I'll continue to talk about, this type of event is going to provide an ability for amateur radio clubs to interact with the public in a very non-amateur radio inspired way. And if people have interest, one of your immediate follow-ups is, hey, and guess what? In 2 weekends from now, we're doing this big thing called Field Day. If you want to dive a little bit deeper into amateur radio, then we have that. Later this year, in August is the tentative time frame. I'm not going to dwell on this, but I'm working with West Point to do a high-altitude balloon project. So I'm not going to dive into that, but just to kind of give you an idea. Mid to late September is Hudson Valley Hamfest. It's its early stages. So again, going to skip over that. But all these different things that I'm working on with other area clubs, and then also in close alignment with RIA and to RJ, who is the Hudson Region ARRL director. You know, let's just say my theme is let's help put Hudson Valley on the map, and these type of activities help us do that. And so let me get to the meat here. So specifically, what are we talking about? What is this event? Let me try to move everyone's little thumbnails out of the way. There we go. All right, so what? We already talked about the name Hudson River Radio Relay featuring Bannerman's Island. Short. This is a short event similar to Old Rhinebeck, so 4 hours of on-the-air time, not including setup. So 1 to 5 p.m. is the target where we're on the air. The focus is to raise awareness of Bannerman's Island and overall the river heritage. The physically where, because this is not on just one place, what we're architecting is there's going to be a team of people that are going to physically be on the island with permission through DEC. This is an island that, for anyone who's ever heard of things like Summits on the Air, Parks on the Air, there's also a thing called Islands on the Air, also known as IOTA. It does not qualify as an IOTA destination, but we've been working with the organization that helps govern that, and we're basically putting Bannerman's Island on that. And so that in itself is going to be a rare DX type of entity. So that's going to be a fun thing unto itself. But to help raise further awareness of this, the planning committee came up with the idea to co-locate 7 shore stations across the Hudson Valley. So we're looking at Dutchess, Ulster, Orange, Putnam, and Rockland counties. And so that is a huge undertaking. So think of it almost as like a mini field day in the Hudson Valley. And some of the benefits that we're going to have is finding ways where we can make sure that all 7 plus 1, meaning Bannerman Island, so a total of 8 stations, can communicate directly with each other, as well as to communicate in a standard type of special event on the air type of approach, you know, wider reaching. So that's the physically where, and I'll talk about the locations a little bit later. Virtually where, we're going to be operating on 40, 20, 17, and 6 meters. It's also, again, the same weekend as the VHF-UHF contest. So that's going to give us a lot of exposure locally. And then, of course, the usual that I know has worked out fantastically well when Omarc does the 4-H event. DMR is a good head turner. We also have somebody who recently moved to the area who has experience running a special event for Hedy Lamarr commemoration on Echolink. So we're basically kind of ticking off a lot of different boxes here in terms of the where, the virtually where part of it. And then how are we doing this? I have a list of 1-by-1 special event call signs. One is going to be issued per each shore station. So we'll get to that in a second. There's going to be a special commemorative certificate. So if anybody is looking to make contact with all of the stations, they're going to get a nice certificate as part of it. There's a lot of different fundraising related activities, which we know Ken is super huge on, KD2TQS. So he's working on a number of different things with me in the background, and that's what kind of rolls up to websites. So we have a website. It's not published yet for a number of reasons, but if anyone wanted to go to HudsonRiverRadioRelay.com, you'll come across this is something cool coming soon. So there's lots of things going on behind the scenes in that. So those are the high level things. Before I dive into the Omarc specific conversation part, does anyone have any questions before I go further? George, any questions on your end? I see the gears grinding in your head. But you're on mute, so we don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't have any questions about it, no.
Excellent. All right. Anybody else? Anybody questions or no so far? All right. Moving forward. All right. So these are some of the clubs that are confirmed as being participants. USMA/West Point, the Peekskill/Cortland Amateur Radio Club, the Putnam Emergency Amateur Radio League, the Orange County Amateur Radio Club, QSY Society, as well as the Mount Beacon Amateur Radio Club. So those are 6 of the confirmed clubs that are engaged with this. Of those 6 that are listed, we have 3 confirmed locations that are going to be part of this event. So the Orange County Amateur Radio Club is going to be setting up their sponsored station at Bear Mountain State Park. If anyone's ever been there, it's a super cool place. They have a zoo and a skating rink and all sorts of other cool places. So they're going to be doing a station there. The Peekskill Club is going to be operating at a place called Riverfront Park. Don't know if anyone knows about it, but Abraham Lincoln had a very significant piece of history right there at the train depot. So they're going to be operating very close to that. The Pearl Club most likely is going to be somewhere in
Here's
Cold
an easy
Spring.
way to get the purest tasting
Mount Beacon
water.
Club is going to be
Zero
operating at a park down at the end of the Poughkeepsie waterfront over by Walkway over the Hudson. QSY Society most likely is tentatively scheduled to operate at Locust Grove, which is where Samuel Morse lived on Route 9 in Poughkeepsie. Maybe changing that to Bowden Park for some COVID-related reasons from Locust Grove, but I think we're probably still going to end up doing it at Locust Grove. And then lastly on here, the USMA folks, for those that don't know, everyone thinks of West Point as being only on the west side of the Hudson River. In actuality, they own a large part of Constitution Island, which is on the east side of the river, and they're most likely going to be doing a remote field op kind of forward comm base type of scenario there. So lots of exciting things. And getting more to the Omarc part of this, I've been fortunate enough to have had David KD2MTG, Dave KD2JLB came to one of the meetings. Neil has, W2NDG has been to a few. Ken KD2TQS has been part of it. So there's been some building momentum, inside out from Omarc. And so, some of the different feedback that I've got is the nice thing that we all know about Omarc, mostly due to the fact that we have this wide area 805 repeater, is we have something really unique. We have the widest area reach of any club in the Hudson Valley, and we have significant members on both sides of the Hudson River, and we pretty much are the only game in town from the northern part of what I guess we'll call like Northern Dutchess and all of Ulster. So if we have a commitment to set up stations, I've left a lot of room in the planning so Omarc can have a major show of force. And so the way that we would think about these, just like, we've done for 4-H or Old Rhinebeck Aerodrome or Winter Field Day, think of this as like a 3 alpha type of, thing, right? Like a 10 by 10 pop-up tent with a table or two. The appropriate radio communications gear, so this way you can be on VHF and UHF. And to do that times 2. So figuring somewhere in Ulster and somewhere in Northern Dutchess. So Lloyd, K2JVX, I don't know if he's on tonight. He's been helping me with a number of things. And so that's where I would, like to see Omarc
girly
part of this. We have, I think, the best
There's something for everyone
not only
in Vietnam. And the girly bars
but now
are among the more popular places to sit down, enjoy a cool beer,
I want to maintain
and to meet
100%
young
safety.
and attractive
I don't
Vietnamese
want it
ladies.
to seem like it's something that is going to make people feel uncomfortable.
The good thing
we do have
about
a
these
history
kind of bars
this is
you
not
don't have to
something that
commit
we're
to
trying
anything.
to attract like thousands of people to. It's going to be 4 hours plus setup. It's going to be operating in a very closed environment, on the radio, like any special event that we've done before. And if by chance, if there's members of the public that are going to come by,
90% of all girly bars
since
in
we are
Ho Chi Minh
targeting
City
to be
are
very
located either on Bui Street or
places,
District 1.
I will be sharing printed collateral, not that far different than the nice cards that we have for Winter Field Day and the Fox Hunts. So it'll be very, very easy.
The easiest
Members of the
and
public
most
show up. If
convenient
they
way
ask you
to meet
questions,
a Viet girl
you'll have a
is
dialogue.
through
You'll know
online dating.
what points to hit. You're not going to need to inundate
You
them
can
with
set
like
up dates
150
in the
years of
comfort of
radio
your own
history and
home.
watch their heads spin off their shoulder. It'll be very, very focused.
Online dating
and
gives an opportunity
let's
to the
face
shy
it,
and
if
socially awkward
a nice family
or
comes
ladies
by and
to
says, hey,
overcome
what
their
are you
fear
doing? And
and
you
search
can
for someone
explain about
who
amateur
make a date.
radio, and then you can say, hey, have you ever heard of Bannerman Island? You can talk about that for a minute and say, hey, we're going to talk to people on that island. And we can talk to people all over. And so it's going to be a really great way not only to show how great Omarc is, but how well Omarc fits into the Hudson Valley, and then also how does it help put Hudson Valley on the map. So that's kind of the high-level bits, and then I'll open it to questions, but before I do that, this is a mock-up of what the certificate's going to look like. The call signs are not the confirmed ones. I'm still working that out with RIA, but basically for people that make contact, say like with Omarc, and you add that to the log, after the event, we'll collate all of the contacts, and then we'll issue certificates out to people who have either requested a certificate or have donated or, what have you. So this is a very professionally run type of an event, and I only just basically see the entirety of the Hudson Valley really benefiting from this. So with that, I hope there's more questions than the first bit, but I'll leave that up to you. Questions?
Steve, this is Doc. If you could, I'd like to be included in any upcoming meetings on this. If you could send me some emails.
Sure. So I didn't mean to exclude you, Doc.
Okay.
There's, as you know, in your life,
Welcome back.
there's like
Secretary of
too many
State
cooks
Anthony
around the kitchen
Blinken
that
and National
spoils the
Security
broth.
Advisor Jake
And you can
Sullivan
imagine
will
trying
meet
to
with
get
members of the
9
Chinese
clubs
Communist Party
on the
tomorrow
same page.
in Alaska. In a first face-to-face
That's what
meeting
it is,
since
but
President
I will
Biden
add
took
you for the
office.
future.
The
We
CCP
have,
has been testing the
only
Biden
a few more
administration
planning
from
meetings
day
left.
one, instituting
One of the
sanctions
challenges
on former
is that
Secretary of State
also
Mike Pompeo
happens
and
to
trade advisor
coincide
Peter Navarro, among
with,
other
the
Trump
same
officials,
evening
marching
that
into Hong Kong with new
board of directors
authoritarian rules and bullying its neighbors in the
the
South
next
China Sea.
meeting,
Last week, the
you would probably only
CCP
be able
held
to
its
attend
annual
for
5-year legislative
30
agenda
minutes,
to reinforce
and
its goals
we've now
to
had
become
like 6
the number
of these
one
meetings,
superpower
so
of
it's
the
too hard
world,
to change
overtaking
it.
the United
We have the
States.
next April one,
Most people
and
know
we have
that
one
I've
in
been
May,
sounding the
but there's a
alarm
lot
on
of
this
other stuff
communist
happening
regime
behind the
for
scenes,
years
just,
now.
just a quick
And
heads up
now,
on that.
even the left is joining me. Here's Bill Maher.
I like
last
this idea.
Do you know who doesn't
in
care
keeping with the
that there's a
club's
stereotype of the
efforts
Chinese man in the Dr. Seuss book, China?
get ham radio back into the public,
tiger flying on a national level. We've been
horizon.
having infrastructure week every week since 2009.
Pretty
but
much
we never
in
do anything.
most of the
Half the country's
Northeast,
having a
ham radio's kind of just
competition, deciding whether Mr.
fading
Potato
out of
Head has
people's
a
consciousness. I think this would be a really great
and
effort.
the other half believes
And it sounds
we have
like
to
as
stop the
far as
lizard
club's
people because they're
participation
feeding
goes,
babies.
it should not be
He's partly right, but what Mark
much
fails
more of
to
an
say
effort
is
than
the
what we
why.
do
Why
at
is
the
China
Rhinebeck Aerodrome. With one simple pop-up and a couple tables, and we could do that, I think, fairly easily in two different locations. Probably over at the park, and maybe one other location in Ulster County. Maybe we could even get something in a high traffic area, like maybe a Minnewaska or something like that. So I see it as a great opportunity to get in front of the public again.
Thank you for all those kind words. And yep, everything that you said, I couldn't echo any better.
Steve, are you pretty good with the presentation there?
Yeah, that's it. I
Okay.
didn't know what level of questions. I think Omarc's full of a bunch of doers. So I figured it's just like, tell us where and when, and we'll do it. But I don't want to count people in for something that they don't have the details on.
to win?
Right.
How can they put up
And
a
that's sort of where I'm going here with the next question is, and I don't want to speak out of turn for Omarc because I am here to help. I'm here to facilitate what you guys want. How do you guys feel about getting involved with this? And do you want to jump in and help with this setup? I think this is a great way for us to hit a very select number of things that we're trying to do with Omarc. One, of course, external education. Two, get out and do stuff. And three, the one thing that I think we've been lacking in the Hudson Valley most of all is getting networked with all the other clubs that are around. So I'm just going to open up the floor to discussion. Anybody have any thoughts or questions or ideas?
I think it's a great idea, and I really think we should participate with two stations. I see us being able to run it fairly easily with maybe 12 individuals, 6 at each site, and with the new members we have and trying to get people involved, I don't foresee having any problem getting volunteers to pitch in on this.
Anybody else with questions?
This is Ed.
Hey, Ed.
I don't have a question. Well, actually, I do. Just to confirm, that was June 12th?
Yes.
So I've got it in my calendar. I'm excited to finally plug into something. I'm a fairly new member. A couple things have happened. A couple of activities have taken place since I joined. But because of my work and people that I'm around, I've been really bending the stick far in the cautious direction. But by June, I'm going to be fully vaccinated, and I'm excited to finally put an activity like this on my calendar. I think it's kind of it seems to me like just kind of something that Omarc can participate in, and without having to really put a tremendous. It doesn't require the formation of a new committee or any kind of mammoth undertaking. So it sounds really, really good.
Well, thanks for all the kind words on this, Ed, and also Doc and Dave. One thing that I'll also mention is, because we're trying to promote this, it's going to be listed in QST Magazine, as most good special events are, as well as the ARRL's website. So there are certain pieces of information that I need to communicate ahead of press. I would like to make sure that I have all the club's acronyms listed in that little special event section in the ARRL literature. All the fine-tooth details will be on the website, and I hate to put anyone on the spot, but I would hope that tonight, if enough people say, like, we want to get included, I don't want to put Omarc's name on anything that they're not 100% on, because if Omarc wants to pull out of it, then it's just going to be an error detail within within QST. So I hate to make it sound that way, but how do you want to play that, Dave? Because like Rhea is like jumping up and down, so excited about this, and I said, I still haven't talked officially to certain clubs. Omarc probably being one of the last, but a lot of people have known about it. So, Dave, how do you want to handle that?
Well, my thought is, and I will defer over to Doc, is I don't know that this is a situation that really requires a motion to, secure our participation in this. What do you think, Doc?
That's true. It wouldn't take a motion because it shouldn't cost any expenditure. I think what we should do is, let's see, how many, we've got 25 online?
I've got 25.
Well, let's try something of getting a count on willing participants in this. Could we get 12 people interested in committing to this date and setting up in 2 different areas? Probably, I think Ferncliff Forest, obviously, and then maybe some place with a high traffic like Sam's Point State Park or Minnewaska State Park, something like that. I'm right down here underneath Sam's Point, so of course I can go up and talk to the ranger up there. But I think we should really try for some high traffic. I think if we could get 12 individuals tonight who are willing to commit to this, by all means, I think we need to give it a go.
I would say that given the number of people that are here and the number of people that are still out there in the club, I wouldn't say that we need to have everybody sign up tonight. Is my point. But I would ask if the club that is here and available, if there's anybody that has a problem with us being in this event, and if they don't, then I think we should set it up. Does that seem pretty reasonable to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll recruit after that, Doc. I'll send out an email, sit down, and we'll recruit.
All right,
that are going to be hot on doing stuff. And that's the thing with this club nowadays, which has been so nice, is that people want to do things.
Great.
So,
well, I think Ferncliff Forest is going to be, obviously an excellent site, and we would need to pick a second site in Ulster County.
So for some of the siting, one thing we have to remember is that we're going to be most likely again doing field day at Ferncliff Forest, so to disrupt them for 2 weekends in the month.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That
in the same month, isn't it?
Nick Staley likes us. I don't know if he likes us that much. So
that's
like,
true.
So some of the ideas for locations that I have, there's a place called Rhinecliff Landing, which is by the train station. Mm-hmm. That is a good high traffic spot. We still would need to seek the appropriate approval, but I have the inns there, which is why I recommend it.
Lighthouse Park in Esopus.
Yeah, that would be good too.
I was coming to the west side of the river next. so on the east side, I was thinking Rhinecliff Landing would be one, which is easy to, for people to get to, and it's fairly high traffic, and with, the same kind of curious, good, positive people that we know exist in Rhinebeck. And then another option I was thinking, I think Charles is on here, I was maybe even thinking maybe like somewhere like Statsburg or Hyde Park as like, some other options that we could start exploring. So that's on the east side. On the west side, and I think Kenny's going to come off mute in a second, on the west side of the river, I was thinking Esopus Meadow Park would be a really good spot. Another one, which is much further up into Kingston, which is where that Lobster Fest thing happened a couple years back. Those are some other ideas. But again, wherever Omarc's going to need to do their locations, the usual Omarc stuff applies, right? Insurance, COI, and then, I'll work with whoever wants to kind of take a lead on this to make sure that we're allowed to be there, even though it's 4 hours. We don't want like the cops showing up and saying, who are you and what are you doing here with big antennas? So we want to start having those conversations now. So, Kenny, I saw you came off of video mute. Did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, on the Ulster County side, and we'd have to talk to a few people, but the waterfront area, which is still alive and well after COVID, there are open spaces down there that if we talk to the right people, that is a very, very high traffic area that a lot of people would see us down there. There is a lot of open space. We would just have to look at it and then talk to some people. But I think we would be welcome down there, and we would have a lot of traffic. If we're going out into the parks, sometimes that could be very limited in terms of the amount of traffic. It would depend on the day and the weather and some other variables. But that area down near the waterfront, very crowded. We'd get great visibility down there.
Yep, thank you for that. So I guess maybe following this, whoever wants to follow up with me with ideas, the way that I think about this is whoever's offering ideas, I take it as, great, when can you do it? So bear that in mind, that, I'm open to everything, but we definitely need to have doors, and I think we have probably the largest number of doors in any of the other clubs that I regularly speak with, so I know that we'll be able to pull this off. But if there's any other ideas and stuff, feel free to ping me on email or whatever. But I would like to have some understanding, who wants to kind of be on the east side, who's on the west side. Let's start tightening that stuff up now, and then making sure that we figure out the right equipment
Emergency
out of the
tooth
club's
repair.
inventory to go where it needs
Ulster
to go.
County.
And
Emergency
shake out the
dental
kinks and all
repair
that
revolving
fun
light
stuff.
24 hour. Emergency
That's
dentist
kind of
in
it
center.
for me.
Emergencia
But
dentista.
now you know what I've
Here
been
you go.
busy with.
If you're
among
visiting
other
due to
things in the
COVID-19,
background.
give your healthcare provider a call before you go.
I have one quick question for you. Bannerman Castle, Palapa Island, technically is inside of Hudson Highlands State Park.
Yes, it is.
Could we also get it as POTA?
So I'm trying to not have everybody clustered in the same general area. And so Omarc's unique, right? So it's like, while I would love to have like Omarc do something a little bit further south of the normal territory, then it's just going to cluster it, and it doesn't sound as impressive to say, hey, look, we set up basically a comms network across a 60-mile stretch of the river on multiple frequencies. But to answer your question, it is part of that. There'll be other POTA-related things and SOTA-related things that HVDN's focused on. Some of you have probably seen or heard about my last weekend adventure, but I would love to maybe do some further POTA stuff beyond this. But for now, this is very IOTA focused. So Bannerman's or / Polypel, Constitution Island. There's some other stuff that I've been banging back and forth with Lloyd on about some of the other 6 islands across the Hudson, but we'll keep this one pretty tight. And to all of Kenny's points, the river makes for a lot of easy things to happen. And so if there's spots that are cool up the river, then I'm open. Maybe if there's like somewhere, if Jim has like some ideas like around like Saugerties, whatever we want to do. So or Ed saying Post Park, I don't even know where that is, but yeah, I mean, I'm open, but we just got to start figuring this stuff out now and start greasing the right skids to make us be able to go to those.
Hey, Jim, the Saugerties Beach on both sides, I forgot the street, but there's one area where there's a beachfront where people launch their kayaks, and then on the other side near the lighthouse, on that side, there's a huge open space there that's pretty well attended with people. What do you think?
Route 9.
You mean off of 9W?
Yeah, it's 9W. Just as it comes across the dam, that's where the kayak.
Across the bridge, and you go to the right as you're
Yes.
going down. That's a real nice open spot over there with a lot of people. What do you
I don't
think?
see a lot of traffic there normally, though. You're talking about right where the bridge goes right to the middle of Saugerties over.
Yeah, but then you go over to the right where the waterfall is, leading into where the lighthouse is.
Behind Hyman Mills.
Yeah.
There's commercial stuff there, but nothing really public.
It's not very small parking lot shared with residents and.
Oh, near that apartment building. All right, I didn't know. I've been there. It's been crowded, but okay.
There's not a lot of huge riverfront stuff in Saugerties. It's interesting. Even when you get down to where they launch, for the lighthouse and everything, people seem to congregate elsewhere. If you wanted to do something in Saugerties, you could look at Seaman Park, which gets lots of people wandering through.
Well, the other problem we've got in Saugerties is that to facilitate New York City having their water, they're dumping muddy water off of the Ashokan, and the Esopus looks like chocolate U-Hill for the last 4 or 5 months, and they've been doing that a lot, and nobody really wants to be there. It's sickening. You can't go swimming, you can't go fishing. We're being basically trashed, and nobody cares. It's horrible. You're paying all the extra taxes for waterfront property, and you can't use it. You don't even want to look at it. So, Saugerties is not a good place right now to highlight.
All right, so we'll add the reclamation of Saugerties to year 3, Jim. Right? Raise awareness.
No, Jim is now moving.
We've got 150 feet of waterfront property, and you can't do anything. You can't go in it. It's sickening. And New York City figures that they can trump us and dump all their stuff. They've actually destroyed houses by the flooding, and nobody cares. So it's not really a good area to show off. We're in turmoil right now, and our politicians basically don't care. I went to a meeting several years ago and talked on it, and one of my other neighbors did too, and the Freeman covered it, and the only thing they got right was the date and the page numbers. And that's how we're represented. So you really don't want to come here and use us as an example, and go someplace else. You'd be better off.
Dave, MQE just posted an idea on chat. It's a really good idea. And a lot of clubs use the west side of the walkway over the Hudson, which, has been redeveloped as a really nice park entranceway. A lot of clubs do events over there. I think if we contacted the folks over there, they may be very open to us doing something over there. And that is very well trafficked.
I've actually been in touch with U.S. Parks. They weren't too keen on it, but that might change. So,
because I know the Astronomy Club does an awful lot on the bridge at night.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
All right. Well, I know some people over in the service. I can certainly inquire, but that I think, Dave, that's a really good idea over there. That really is.
If we can do it there, that was my first choice, but USP sort of kind of shot it down. I painted it all the right ways. I know all the MHAA leadership. They do all their stuff. There's a number of volunteers for Walkway Over the Hudson that are also part of Mount Beacon that are pro for it. But right now, one of the biggest issues, and it's the same thing that we're running into with Bear Mountain State Park, is anything that falls under USP/DEC. They're saying we want to do it, but we can't give you a firm yes, just due to COVID. But otherwise, for all I know, Kenny, that could literally change in the next week or two. So
they're probably following CDC guidance. That's probably what they're doing, and there's still guidance on restrictions. So yeah, we may have to wait and see, but we can certainly throw our hat in the ring, so to speak.
But I know we'll be able to figure it out. The good news is we have all the gear, right? That's easy. Some clubs, don't have the gear and they're trying to figure other stuff out, but it gives them an excuse to do it. So, but otherwise, what I'm hearing, it's all positive. I don't want to take up the whole meeting because we could chat about this for 9.5 days, but I'm hearing everything positive, and so thank you so much for the good encouragement and support for being part of this. And this will be something, again, we'll figure out how to do things like this once a year, every year. So, we can change the theme, but, basically, it'll be an ongoing thing.
I was going to suggest that Joe, with his magic maps, put on who's vaccinated and who's not, and we could actually go 100% vaccinated ham radio operators.
There you go, Rob.
That's a possibility. All right, so just to make it official, nobody's opposed to this?
Dave, Dave, do we have a special events committee chairman yet? Has anybody volunteered for that?
Not as yet.
Okay, if we could get somebody willing to step up for that tonight, maybe we could let that person work on taking the ball and run with this.
All right. We could certainly do that. I don't want to put anybody on the spot here as yet. So, you know, like I said, I had a rough month last month, and I don't want to put anybody right on the spot about becoming a chairman of a committee that's not even formed yet. So let me work that out. But let me just discern from everybody here that we are positive on doing this event, and that we're going to try our best to do two stations along with this event. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Kid, Steve, you can count us in.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Very good. It looks like we're going to have a lot of event planning coming up in the next month and a half. All right. Let's. I'm getting this odor in my nose of delicious corned beef and cabbage. So let's move this along here. Last thing on the agenda for me tonight for the new business is the just released announcement that the spring BE session is on. I don't know if everybody's received my email or not. I know there's at least one person here who has been waiting with bated breath for this. Harry Slate, W2XA, got in touch with me today and said he's got it nailed down. So for anybody out there looking to do an upgrade or knows anybody who's looking to get their ticket, Omarc will be holding a BE session on Saturday, April 10th at the Town of Kingston Town Hall, 906 Sawkill Road in Kingston, New York. First session will be up to 10 participants or applicants at 9 a.m. And applicants must pre-register. So you have to call Harry. His telephone number is 845-336-8757 or email him at hsleight@gmail.com. And all that stuff should be in your emails. I sent out an email just before the meeting. Only thing to mention is that with the recent FCC rule changes, there's a different procedure, especially for signing in for this. So double check with the ARRL. I sent 2 links on that email on getting licensed and what to bring to an exam session. So definitely check that out if you are looking to get an upgrade. And I know at least one person in here is looking to get an upgrade. Definitely check that out in the email. Anybody do the email and needs to. Okay. Very good. That's all I've got. Anybody else have anything for new business or this meeting?
I offer a new business thing, sort of, kind of.
Okay.
So Neil, W2NDG, and I, just going back to some old business, talking about doing a monthly type of special presentation type of thing. We're moving forward on planning for that. So I don't know. I guess it's kind of a crappy thing that I did, Neil. Now I'm kind of putting you into the spotlight, but is there anything that you want to talk about on that? Because I think we were planning to start doing those in like April, and that's next month.
Yeah, and we have to pick a date for the first one. We were talking about doing, for the first one, everything you always wanted to know about HTs and programming them.
Like a large subject.
Well, just to do a quick, whirlwind of the Chinese HT industry. So because it can get rather confusing, and one person will tell you that this radio is illegal, and another person will tell you that it's not, and we'll cover some of that stuff. And how to use Chirp, the basics of it. And then in a future one, we'll cover more of the advanced subjects with that.
And basically, the idea is it's like we're kind of, flip-flopping every other month. So there's some more advanced topics, like the one that Neil just helped me out with for HVDN, comparing the ICOM 705 and 9700. That's at like the opposite end of the schedule price-wise than UV5R, right? So, I think, as we have content, it puts Omarc on the map, right? If there's this good club that appeals to new hams and that we're doing cool things that attract an audience, putting those things on YouTube and on Facebook and stuff, it attracts more people. And as we get more people, that means more membership, and more membership makes Kenny a happy guy because that means that we have money in the bank. So that's kind of, why. Plus, we like to talk about this stuff, so it's kind of a win-win. But that's what we're kind of thinking. Once a month we're going to do something like this, and then once every other month, HVDN's doing something like kind of like the 3.0 level. So,
and there's a lot going on the workbench here. So there's plenty we can talk about. I have all kinds of little gadgets all the time, and can even get into basic repair. Look familiar, Dave?
Yep.
Guess what? It's fixed.
Nice. All right. Well, the only thing I'd like to thank you very much, Steve. I'm assuming you're continuing to, as you volunteered last month to coordinate this. I'm assuming that you're continuing to plan on doing the coordination for this.
Yep.
Oh, okay. The only thing I would mention is that do not take all of it on yourselves. There's plenty of people in this club with lots of things that they can share. So definitely.
And that's why I brought it up, because we have, 20 odd people on here?
Yeah.
23? So, yeah, I got enough stuff, as you can see, between all the HVDN activity. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm going to be stretched way too thin. I cannot take on anything else. But I'm happy to help other people. So I, again, congratulate Jim for, giving a hand to Neil, or is it the other way around? I don't know, but, for any of this other stuff, it would be good to maybe have somebody else even involved at a theoretical planning level, like, not to point on Doc, but because of the educational focus, we can find some ways to pull you into it, or, some others that, we're just itching for something to do. So, ping Neil, ping myself, we'll figure it out. But just wanted to make sure that I brought it up, since I don't think it was in the old business readout that George did.
I wasn't sure exactly where you were with the situation, so I didn't want to put you too much on the spot, given all the other things that were going on tonight. But
I came in late, so I do want to add one thing. I wanted to thank everybody for making the new Sunday Night Net, work. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to continue to be fun. And for Dave, and for Steve and I too, polling everybody as to what they want to talk about and what interests them is not just for my net, it's for Dave's net on Thursdays, because some of those topics are going to be good for you. And so they might be able to spring off of some of these subjects for things that Steve and I can work into the presentations. So, and as the workshop comes together here, and my little crisis at work comes to an end, finally, I'll have some more time to think about these things. So,
very good. It's the only thing that's, I think it all works together. It's really coming, it's synergistically together with all these different topics that make it work together to create more and more content for our members and for people outside the club. So I think this is really great and it works well. But just do want to make, if you need somebody to do a presentation, definitely put feelers out there and ask and see, it's only 12 a year, 12 a year, so it's not too bad to get up, 12 people to put together something.
Having done this for another club, I have some sources, and I think everybody would be interested if I bring the guy in who talks about lightning arresters, station grounding, and proper station electrical. I'm sure that would be a topic everybody would love.
Neil and I are basically just importing all of our friends from Long Island up here. Basically, that's what we're doing.
It's fine. We're glad to have them. Except for that one guy, whatever his name was.
Al?
He left us.
Yeah. You're lucky on that.
He's not around anymore.
Hopefully he didn't come up here.
Neil, do we have a start date for this?
That would be. We were trying to do April. Steve, what? We had a tentative date, but
yeah, I don't think we ever really got further past that. I mean, maybe let's open up. Like, if everyone wants to hop on a video, a Zoom presentation with non-business stuff, and learn about something, I'd be curious, like, what people's thoughts would be. I think we were kind of throwing the idea around of like a Friday evening. But I'd love to maybe hear from some other people where you want to kind of unwind and, have like a 60-minute presentation on something. What would be a date that would work well for everybody? Because there's certain days during the month that are already done, right? Like there's the board of directors meeting, this meeting, those dates are out. We probably don't want to schedule them the same week, so you don't have like your wife to say you're doing ham radio stuff every day in the same week. So, if anyone wants to kind of give ideas, Neil has like the first canned presentation, so we don't have to, coordinate with an external speaker. But by the third one, we're going to be pulling in somebody from outside of Omarc. And so we want to kind of have this as a consistent date. So I don't know if there's anyone who hasn't said anything. I'd love to hear, like Frank
Dentist
or
around
Alan
Shokin.
or
Sure. If you're visiting due to COVID-19, give your healthcare provider a call
whoever
before you
hasn't said
go.
anything. Paul has been awfully quiet. Guy has been awfully quiet. Charles, I see him laughing. He's been awfully quiet. So, I'd be curious what you all think if we're going to have like an ongoing series of presentations. What would be a convenient night or even time? Let's kind of chat it out.
I just want to let you know, I've been working on a program. It's the least you should know about hotspots. A lot of guys got hotspots, and I think we just cover some of the basics and how it interfaces with Brandmeister. It's probably a small presentation and then a lot of hands-on looking at the menus, looking through the web and stuff like that. So,
all right. So May is you're good for May, Pete. Basically.
My daughter's been pushing me. She just asked me tonight. She goes, "When are you gonna?" Because she's been helping me with the PowerPoint because she's really good at it. So she's been asking me to, when are we gonna do this? So I want to get the repeater going, and then once I get the repeater going, then I'll go back to her and get back to this.
So let's slot you in for May, and then ask your daughter's permission with what night she wants to be part of that. I guess. I think, can we all just let Pete's daughter give us like the day, and we'll just stamp that going forward?
No, that's too much pressure for her.
Well, Dave, weren't you saying that we were going to be putting the board meetings onto the Monday night, the second Monday of the month?
They are on the second Monday now. They've been rescheduled to that. The initial thoughts on this particular presentation evening was the first Wednesday of the month. But I know Neil has a problem with Wednesdays.
Well, if you want to do it at 8 o'clock, it's fine. I just have to have everything ready to roll, and I'll go right from the class.
Yeah, but we don't need you doing 2 presentations a night.
As long as I turn off the soldering irons before we start, I'm fine.
Okay.
Like, this one's dangerous.
Well, if I may, we do major nets on Thursdays and Sundays. What about like a Tuesday? Would Tuesdays be doable for people? Just trying to think spreading them out through the week is what I'm thinking. So there's less stuff going on.
Tuesdays are tough for me because I'm on the way back from the city.
Right.
So, but I could swap things around for the week that we're doing it.
I could pull people on once a month from Squid Wrench Maker Group. That's when they have their weekly virtual doing. So Tuesdays could actually be good if you want some non-Omarc people that might want something to do, and they'll just switch gears for 1 week.
Yeah, and I can swap a Monday and a Tuesday around because my assistant is in on Mondays too. So As long as he's there when I'm there, I'm fine.
All right. So, which Tuesday? First Tuesday of the month? I'm just trying to get us nailed down here so you guys can
bring up the calendar. Hold on. April. The 6th is right after Easter Monday.
So maybe do we do second Tuesdays? Because it should be static. Same bat time, same bat day.
Yeah, the second Tuesday would be the 13th, the 11th, the 8th, the 13th.
Which calendar are you looking at?
Same calendar that I have.
Okay, there we go. Maybe I was looking at the wrong calendar. I'm using the Mayan calendar. It already expired, so.
Yeah, that would work.
All right. Anybody with
second Tuesdays?
There it is.
Okay. All right, so I'll have something ready for the 13th, and then Pete, you've got a month from then.
And this is going to be on Zoom. And do we have a time?
Do we want to do 7 or 8 o'clock? And it's gonna be bing bang boom, 60 minutes, and then we're done. You know, it's not going to drag out for like 9.5 hours.
Let's compromise on that and do 7:30.
Yeah.
All right.
And Pete, if you want, I'm going to be assembling a bunch of hotspots between now and then. So if you want me to take a lot of pictures, I'm going to be doing that for my own makers group. I can supply you with whatever I have.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so Steve, will there'll be an email going out to all the membership as to a Zoom log on and stuff?
Sure. Yeah, we'll make that happen.
We'll get it done.
Okay, great.
All right. So Tuesdays, second Tuesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Just in case George is still trying to write it down. You got it all set there, George?
I'm about to write it down right now. Is that still under new business?
Yeah. Zoom presentation night. It's actually kind of old business, but we'll put it under new business.
Zoom
presentation night.
Board?
Presentations.
Zoom presentation.
All right.
That's Tuesday of the month.
Second Tuesday at 7:30.
7:30. That's every month, right, guys?
Yep. Assuming we can get enough presentors for it, which I think will be.
Well, I wrote it down anyway, Dave.
Okay, good enough. All right. Anybody else with anything else?
I just have a real quick question. What time is the Sunday night now?
It's now 8 p.m. We moved it from 9 to 8. All right, guys.
Enjoy your dinner.
Here tonight. Let's go ahead and get a motion to close out.
Doc makes a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Who seconded that?
Neil.
W2NDP. All opposed. Good enough. That's meeting adjourned. It looks like we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up this year. This is going to be a great year for Omarc and ham radio in general. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, great. 7:30, y'all.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Night.
Enjoy your meal, Dave.
Thank you.
Night.
I don't even know what I'm eating. All right. Yeah, I still haven't decided what I don't need this. So, but it was definitely an experience. I actually, I did one of the filters first earlier today after I finished my horrible work day, and then I did the second filter live in my makers class tonight because I wanted to teach them how to desolder